Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So in this video I'm going to be finishing the final of the latest SBR stages, the final trump card stage. So in this stage I decided to go with the Potara team. This kind of allowed me to use a friend LR Potara lead, the Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan Angel. And then also obviously it allowed me to kind of run what appears to be an effective team. As always, I try to reduce the amount of summonable LRs that I include in my runs, unless it's absolutely mandatory, because I try to give people a good idea of how to build teams rather than, you know, just sticking 6 LR cards in a single lineup that are all rainbowed and saying that I know how to play the game. So basically, the way we're going to go with this here is we've got the easy Vegeta Blue. He's going to kind of frontline tank. He's going to act as basically one of our main sources of damage. I'm lucky enough to have him rainbowed, but I've equipped all critical gear on him. So just a reminder for anyone who doesn't know, for units that have innate additional attacks or counter attacks, it's great to go crit because it's going to maximize their damage. So we've built entirely crit on him. And as you can see, he's doing some really good work in terms of damage against these units. Really dishing out some nice hits across the board. Then I've got this merged Zamasu, who's going to act as a compatriot friend for the Fusion Zamasu, the agility transforming unit that we're going to have on the other rotation. Then as our lead, because it's the only other Potara lead that isn't an LR, we're going to have Kefla, and she's going to do some damage. She's not going to be great defensively, but I found her damage to actually be pretty decent in this run. She's usually popping off for, you know, 2 or 3 million attacks, getting a couple crits here or there. So, and she has innate dodge, which comes in handy once or twice. As you can see there, she has a little bit of a dodge mechanic going on. Then on our second rotation, I was leaning, so one rotation is going to be the Zamasus, and then another rotation is going to end up being the LR and the Vegeta Blue. But the issue with that is obviously getting them onto the same rotation without obviously causing too much damage with other units. I have Candy Vegeta here. Candy Vegeta with his EZA is very good. He has a 70% chance to evade, he has a stun mechanic, he gains some attack and defense for orbs and on the super attack, so he's a lot more reliable now than he was. So I've kept him here obviously for a bit of utility and control. And we have the friend lead is 100%. We don't manage to get the transformation with it, which is a bit of a shame because it would have been a full heal, but the fights don't really go that long. As you can see, we cut it close a couple times, but yeah, this was a nice team. I enjoyed getting the run with this team. I think it was decently put together. I was especially impressed with Zamasu. I noticed people dislike or hate, or there's like a stigma against units like Zamasu and Super Boo and Transforming Boo, and I just find it so silly because these units just tank so impressive. You throw one item on, these units just aren't taking damage. Like I think I'll demonstrate it here. I think I actually use a Ghost Usher here, contemplating how we can take the damage. So I do take a gamble here, and what I do actually is I attack the physical unit here, and I decide to go for him, hoping that I get the crit, which will then enable me to finish off the agility unit and only take on the strength unit the next turn. So this was a bit of a gamble, but it was kind of needed because it allowed me to save an item and also just control the fight a bit better. You can see here that Zamasu goes. Great damage, by the way, 1.9 million. Zamasu does have 2 dupes in him, but the links aren't really leveled up, so he could hit a way higher attack stat there. Plus he provides healing each turn. Merge Zamasu, similar thing. His attack stat could go up even further actually, which is really great between those two. And then we've got Vegeta coming in. He's going to finish up that unit. So it was really helpful. It was ultimately a good call at the end of the day. I knew we couldn't die even if we took a super attack from the strength unit, so it was one of those things. Then here obviously I gamble again on the high evasion chance from Candy Vegeta. A lot of these gambles are what I call favorable gambles, but that's not really how things work. As long as there's a chance for you to fail, you can always fail. But ultimately we managed to get the one attack we need and the dodge we need, and so that's the first round cleared up. With that out the way, we managed to save quite a few items, and now we kind of know where our game plan is in terms of what we're doing with our units, and we've got the Zamasu rotation set up. In the second fight, my goal was to focus on the Evil Boo. The reason being is that Vegito, Kefla, they can't take attacks from Evil Boo. Like, Zamasu can take attacks with damage reduction from any card, because his damage reduction will stack. So ultimately he can take any amount of damage and he will survive. But fighting Evil Boo, if Evil Boo supers a unit like Vegito before he's built up defensive stacks, Vegito's just going to flat out die and he's going to struggle. So it's just not suitable for this kind of content. So the reason I went with the Ghost Dasher here was two things. So one, key was looking a little bit dodge on the front here. Like, I didn't believe I could get 6 orbs with Kefla. If you don't know, Kefla getting 6 orbs enables her to evade a lot of units. She gains increased evasion, something like 50%, so that was needed to be very helpful. And then also what I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to move to the next turn and have my damage reduction last 2 turns and shift back onto Zamasu for a turn. That way I could maybe try and get some big boy damage with the Vegito before needing to heal. So you'll see here, I immediately go in, I switch the LR next to Vegito. They don't link too great key-wise, they're not like the world's best key links, but they link well enough that we can kind of go ahead with it. So you see here, I apply the Android 8, and then I immediately apply a damage reduction afterwards. I go for the 35% instead of the 40. The reason I double up on both is because in this situation, I know I'm trying to go quickly through the stage and get as much damage as possible. By doubling up on both, I can reduce the amount of damage I take and keep my health pool sitting at a higher threshold, which will help me later on in the fight when I'm trying to take a gamble or trying to do a calculated measure. Sometimes people will pop these heals and then they see their health go immediately because they don't use like an additional defensive item on top. They think, oh, I'll just heal up to full, take the turn. Nah, it's very imperative that if you're going to heal up like that, try and stack and keep your health there as long as possible. Securing your health for those 2 turns could effectively give you a 3rd turn, maybe even a 4th turn if you survive long enough. So sometimes it's better to wait up the items and go for that kind of heavy endurance, because that's going to just enable you to get things done and continue fighting. Whereas if your health immediately drops, you got to then use a defensive item and a health regen item next turn anyway. Because health is very temporary if you don't have the defense to protect that health. So Candy Vegito doing very well. Now we've got my boy, he's going to fuse, he's going to transform. So his defense reduction does go down when he transforms. But with the 35% and the increased defense from the Android 8, he's still going to tank perfectly fine. In fact, he takes a super from Boo in this turn and still just doesn't care. And I think if that doesn't tell you how good the unit is, I don't know what will. There's very few contents that can hit harder than a type disadvantaged SBR unit hitting any unit. Look at that, 37 million. Man is just balling out here. So he comes in, does a good decent attack stat there, getting some nice criticals as well, which is really good obviously. Then we have this Zamasu as well, doing some very impressive attack stats. Not a unit I see people use a lot anymore, the Zamasu. Obviously I think people are waiting for a new Goku Black or Zamasu to eventually come out, but really impressive unit. And then the reason I made Kefla attack the Evil Boo was for exactly this reason. Even if, okay, she doesn't get a crit, which she did fortunately, it would have been really bumming to have, like, let's say for example, him live on 1 health and then super her, because she went for Boo, because I was trying to maximize damage. Always make sure you finish off your threats before you start working on another unit. It's way more important to be able to control the threats than it is to deal with anything else. So you'll see here what happens next is obviously we have the LR sitting in the first slot so that he can take most of the damage, and then we have, you can see me kind of toy around with moving Kefla onto rotation and everything. But again, I gamble here, saying that she could take at least 1 hit. That was kind of my aim. that she could take a hit and she could survive. You'll see there that the LR does some pretty decent damage, and we're very fortunate that he actually supers here. If you don't know, units actually have like a 10 to 15% chance to super, which means that like if it happens in the turn, there's very little chance it's going to happen again in the turn. So, and I don't know if there's a restriction on how often they can do it in the turn. I know some units purposefully super with every attack in things like Ultimate Challenge. But in SBR, as far as I know, once they super in the turn, they can't super again. I've never seen it happen, and I've run these things countlessly. So see here, I just go Ghost Usher. The reason being is I'm low on health, and I don't really want to gamble. I don't really want to try and go for orbs or do anything major, so I basically want to try and hold my Dokkan attack for as long as possible. Keep it, and then hopefully finish him off with the Zamasu combination here. Which I kind of knew we would because he was so low, so I wasn't really too worried about it. The thing was, is people say, oh, if you back Zamasu, why didn't you let him take an attack there? If he supers and I die by like 10,000 health, or I don't die but then my attack doesn't kill him off and then I end up dying afterwards from one attack, I'm going to feel more stupid than spending the Ghost Usher. Like, Zamasu's got no point to prove. That card has done well. It's about to finish an SBR. That's kind of how things work. If your cards are finishing SBRs and contributing to SBR, they have nothing really more to prove if you like them. You don't need to prove them to anyone, to yourself, or to whoever. If you like your card and you finish the stage with your card, it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe you took 30 minutes and someone took 21, but at the end of the day, you got it done. So that's very important. Here you can see me, I tried really hard to set up the orbs to fiddle around for the LR. I didn't end up resetting to see where the orbs would fall and everything like that because, well, I kind of want people to also see these runs as raw as possible, I want to say. So, but the main goal in this final stage is to, similar to how we eliminated Boo in the first one, we really just want to eliminate Zamasu. There's no specific reason. It's not actually like Zamasu holds that much type advantage over us. It's more so because Zamasu himself is a bit easier to take down due to the fact that we have so much physical damage. Due to that high physical damage threshold that we have, we can almost like eliminate him very quickly. And because of the fact that we can eliminate him very quickly, eliminating him is very important because it allows us to not only control the fight from having a single opponent perspective, but it also means we can then focus all our energy onto Goku Black without having to stress about random surprise supers from his best mate or anything like that. So we'll hit the Dokkan attack here. I managed to actually hit all of them this time. I think in my extreme SBR I missed 2 of them, so that looked a bit rookie. I don't know why sometimes you can just miss from the Dokkan attack, but yeah, apparently I'm not so smarticle particle. But yeah, so here we go, we got some decent damage in, we got the Dokkan attack, so we'll get the heal next turn, and we're sitting very, very pretty at this stage. Careful is going to do some decent damage, and because she has type advantage, even if she gets supered, we won't die, which is, you know, important. And from there, we can basically just finish up the fight. She's doing really well damage-wise, by the way. Yeah, check here, she's going to take a super. She's doing really well damage-wise, by the way. Very impressive, and I'm very glad that she's managed to hold up so well. She's obviously not great defensively. I mean, I'd be the first to admit that she's not great defensively. But yeah, she definitely puts in work. I think, you know, if you have to run her as your lead, obviously you run someone else if you can, but I think she did alright enough at least to take her through. So here we go, the Zamasu's coming in with some big combination damage here. Really good work, get the double super here, which is great. It's basically going to allow us to kick it off. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. The fight was finished, it was pretty straightforward. It was a good run. This was my 3rd attempt with this team specifically. Like I said, I previously had done a run with a whole bunch of LRs and things like that, which makes it a lot easier and also just kind of not as, I don't know, helpful. So yeah, we managed to clear the run, we did very well. Very happy with this run. I think it's a good example of the content in the game, and I think overall it's a good team to run. This is basically just a Patara team, but Final Trump Card's cool and that's quite an expansive category. So I suggest you guys give it a try. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. thanks for watching, and if you do like the content or have an idea of what you want next, leave a comment on the video and just let me know, and I'll get to it.